Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, both teams are on the field, and Waitemata today will line out as follows. 1, Dominic Thiem. 2, Ferrari Chapman. 3, Francis Sewer. 4, Leroy Massaro. 5, Matthew Feldman. 6, Brendan Puravaka. 7, Jared Tapasara. 8, Tangalina Suva. 9, Karina Hurua. Captain in the side, number 10, John Salisi. 11, Izzy Hunt. 12, Akapai Ohila. 13, Tui Chau. 14, Eric Lilo. 15, Ayata Lepa. 16, Jared Adams. 17, Suriano Fakotha. And Hibiscus Coast will run out as follows. 1, Raj Kirunulapa. 2, Sky Grace. 3, Ruben Torovay. 4, Hayden Tirani. 5, Josh Parker. 6, Bobby Brown. 7, Michael Walker. 8, Tangawai Kira. 9, Hayden Kupaya. 10, Tagavahi McPherson. 11, John McPherson. 12, Alani Reihana. 13, Kaina Kahama. 18, Donnie Turuhai. 15, Kelvin Katara. 20, Hanani Mendel.
Raiders kicking is going to be going that way. We still have a couple of minutes. There's still probably 2. You all good, boss? Awesome.
No team list.
Yep. Going to the right, boss. Thank you.
Kia ora and welcome to the Trust Arena Stadium. Hibiscus Coast Raiders up against the Waitemata Seagulls as we look at the lineup for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Just relax, we've got to wait for the signal for time.
And there they are, the Waitemata Seagulls.
Just relax. Got a minute, gentlemen.
And Hibiscus to start the proceedings today, playing in the Premier First
John, we've still got about 45
Grand Final for
seconds.
2017.
Set it up, gentlemen, let's go.
Hibiscus Coast in the maroon and gold. Waitemata
John, you ready?
in the green and gold.
John.
Hibiscus playing left to right on our screen today.
Time you're on,
And
gentlemen.
Ben Kingy to start the proceedings.
This is good. Move! With me, Raiders, with me! Oh, yes.
Waitemata to play the ball now and going forward out of their red zone now. And there it is, first penalty of the match with a high shot there. And the referee quick to seize upon that and establish that he's going to be in control of this match and he won't tolerate any high shots.
Here we are, Raiders. Sit with me. Wait for the tap. Wait for the tap. Play on. Move! With me, yes.
Waitemata again now. With back-to-back sets, bringing up to the halfway.
Oh, yes, 2. Stand up.
Hibiscus now giving away another penalty here.
Work it out of there. No, you're working the head.
Referee wants to establish this very early. He won't tolerate any high shots. I'm joined in commentary today with Lou and husband. And sideline with Corey.
Yeah, tēnā koe, Rusty. What an awesome day we've had so far. 3 games of top matches that could have went either way. We're proud to be able to stream these this level of football to our viewers nationwide. And big ups to Auckland Rugby League and of course the production crew here today, giving the chance of these sort of proud clubs the opportunity to be showcased on this sort of stage.
Absolutely, it's the wonders of modern technology with live streaming and the internet here, giving the opportunity for us to beam around the globe and send our local game out internationally and giving these guys an opportunity, a little bit of exposure. As we see Waitemata here now threatening. Referee calls play on. Waitemata again retaining possession.
3, you're offside. I called you back. 3, yes, you're
just going through the team list there of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Rusty, I saw the stack of Māori names, and I was thinking that maybe these are the boys that come up from Ngaruawahia.
And Port Waikato, yes.
And Port Waikato, that's right.
Yeah, from the South Auckland. And through their affiliation there, they saw an opportunity to affiliate with the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, who didn't have a reserve grade. And they saw an opportunity there to play under the Auckland Rugby League, and had a very successful year, obviously leading all the way to the grand final here today. And obviously had a bad start here with giving away four penalties in their first 3 minutes. And Waitemata here now taking the opportunity to take the 2 points, or an opportunity to take the 2 points, as we cross down to sideline with Corey on the sideline. Corey.
Yeah, that's right. And we saw that fantastic haka to start the game, but you wonder if Hibiscus Coast got a little bit too pumped up, perhaps. As you mentioned, a string of penalties to start this one, which obviously isn't ideal for them. Looks like they're going to pay the price with 2 points. So something they need to get on top of early. It's all very well being fired up. You've got to be disciplined as well.
You certainly do, Corey, and there's no time like the present to get things right. And so Hibiscus need to learn a lesson from that. They need to compose themselves and then get back into playing smart footy, composed footy, and can start completing their sets.
For you viewers that just joined us, about 10 minutes ago, the floodgates opened and it was a decent downpour. I was lucky to pass a brolly down to old Corey to keep his hair dry. But the pitch will be certainly a bit wet. And so the attacking team will keep that in mind and possibly keep the ball along the ground to cause a bit of dramas to the fullbacks and to the back three.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of wind around here today too, Lewin, and it has died down a little bit now. At the moment, it is quite calm. The wind, the storm clouds seem to have passed by, so hopefully that's it for the day.
On you, kicker.
And the Hibiscus now to try and restart the match and to also basically get a better start for themselves and get rid of the penalties that they were giving away and start playing a smarter game and get themselves back into this match.
With me, hold, yes. 1.
A few of these familiar faces are from Papakura. The Papakura Seagulls looks like Charles Terangi, the 6th there.
Yes, 1, 2 there.
Bobby Brown.
Yeah, and one of our old friends down there, Ben Kingy as well. And Ben Kingy was a Warriors junior player and New Zealand Māoris, very prominent young player as well. You see the coaching staff down there as well.
4, hold, yes.
But a very interesting choice of clubs to represent for the Hibiscus Raiders. We've taken the opportunity to field a side under the Hibiscus Coast banner.
Inside, kick is clear.
You see Waitemata with a big kick downfield, fielded by Josh Panapa. And just from a very staunch league whānau. Mihi to his parents, Dave and Tracy Panapa, and his nana and his koro, Christine and John Panapa as well. Big and long-time supporters of rugby league and Māori rugby league in particular.
Make me three, make me!
And great to see that he continues that involvement in that very, very proud family, the Panapas.
For sure, especially the National Māori Rugby League tournament happening in Rotorua this year. For the next 3 years, in fact, Rusty. And no doubt Ngāti Umutahi will be ready to do biz again this year.
Yeah, we're very, very excited about the opportunity to go back to Rotorua. It's been a couple of years. So we are definitely looking forward to going back and having another tilt at the title. This Hibiscus there, Ben Kingy put the little kick through there.
Inside the 10-3. Yes, inside in front of the kicker.
Yeah, he was warned there, the centre three-quarter in Ruben Tolovai to stay away from the kick chase. Unfortunately, his ears were painted on.
Yeah, and inside the 6 minutes there, that's the 5th penalty that Hibiscus have given away. They really need to get on top of that and eliminate that from their game if they're to have any chance of being successful today. They can't keep on gifting Waitemata possession and position on the field with ill discipline.
You're good now, thank you.
And that one there in particular, Lewin, was just a case of kore taringa or no ears. The referee certainly called him offside, but he still went through and tried to make the tackle. Henare Manuel there, the big number 20 for Hibiscus, certainly the biggest man on the field there.
That's 2, yes.
We were lucky enough to profile some of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders young boys, young men last week when we saw Bluey McLennan coaching, I think, the under-17s restricted grade, and it was nice to see that coaches with that much experience have sort of taken the time out to help develop our young men and progress their game a bit further.
Yeah, mistake at the back. The ball is really greasy out there today. And young Reece Tuavai Lopa just not being able to field that ball nice and cleanly there. And again, Waitemata gifted with position and possession of the ball. With the scrum now inside the Hibiscus Coast 20 metres. It's been one-way traffic so far, and just be interesting now to see if they can capitalise.
Good, gentlemen, prop in.
Corey, you're a walking encyclopedia when it comes to rugby league, mate. What do you know about these two teams?
Hands over top, hands over top.
Yeah, look, lucky enough to spend a little bit of time up on the Hibiscus Coast pre-season where we had the Sports Safe RL9s up there. So certainly learnt a little bit about the Hibiscus Coast Club, and look, they love their footy. They're obviously playing down in the 2nd division, this one the Premier first, but they've got a lot of skillful guys, a lot of smaller players up at their club, but a club that certainly practice what they preach in terms of really skillful play, and always exciting to watch, I find.
And Waitemata now still hot on attack here. Waitemata was close to the semi-finals of the Sharman last year, and they're in their Premier's grade as well, and they were very, very unlucky, only just beaten by Bay Roskell in the semi-finals last year. And so they are a very proud club there. They're based out at Ranui Domain. And good to see them here in the finals of the Premier first today, and it just shows that their club, although they're in the Sharman, they've still got depth in their senior ranks, and really good for their club to see them making both the finals of the Premier first in the Sharman and the Sharman plate final as well.
Beautiful take there on the far right-hand side. He's managed to pass the ball back into his centre pairing partner. He almost looks like a prop forward, that big
Leroy
man
Masoi.
there.
Play the ball.
Yeah, Leroy there just unable to free himself from the tackles of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Pick the ball up, boss.
And Hibiscus there successful on defending their try line. But they certainly need to get some position under their belt now, try and get some momentum here now, get themselves downfield and look for a kick. And try and get some consistency in their play. They've just handicapped themselves by constantly getting penalised in that first 10 minutes. And now hopefully they've got rid of the nerves now and the energy that they had from their haka. Maybe hype them up a little bit.
Get out of there.
And there we go, they've finally received their first penalty of the match coming into the 11th minute.
Don't just lie there.
And perhaps now we'll start to see them get some momentum and some continuity in their football. As Ben Kingy looks to some yardage with a kick into touch. So a nice kick there, taking them up to halfway.
Yeah, not only the players are happy with these penalties, but the coaches are certainly happy with the piggybacks as well. Some call it.
Hold, that's one, yes.
These boys wouldn't have been televised too many times, and so some of the whānau tuning in will certainly be proud of the ability to be able to see their sons and their moko and their friends and relatives on the screen. So a big mihi to all our viewers that have tuned in to support these young men as they go in battle.
Hibiscus here in good field position here. If they can get a nice play out there, they've got numbers out to the left-hand side. If they can get their wide ball, and they're going that way now. Just in one more pass here. Ooh, the centre just holding on to that just a little bit too long, and then tried to give it after the fact, and it wasn't really on as a forward pass eventually.
They showed some good promise there, Rusty. There was some decent shape, as you mentioned earlier. Some front door runners. But just that last option didn't go to hand.
It was good to see them getting actually try and get to the end of their set there. They were almost at the sixth play the ball there, their sixth rack. But now a lot better in regards to them starting to get some continuity under their belt on attack after defending basically for the first 10 minutes. Oh, and a bad error from Waitemata there, coughing it up on the first pass from the scrum. And Hibiscus now with a prime opportunity and prime location. And go back to their left edge here.
No, he's out the back. Heads for two, move! Tackle one.
Yeah, what tends to happen at these sort of close proximities to the try lane, they get a white line fever. Big, as we see, a big face ball cutting out to the centre, and he manages to spin himself over and place the ball down on the line. The ice has been broken, and Hoani Reihana.
Yeah, the second rower moonlighting on the wing there, but certainly makes the most of his opportunity. That long ball out to the left wing. He's still got quite a bit of work to do too as we look at the replay here. Lovely ball from Ben Kingy, finding the unmarked second row, but he still had to beat a couple of defenders as he came back infield, but was strong enough there and had the presence of mind to know where the try line was. And Hibiscus there on their probably their second set of attack, able to do the job and get across and score the opening try of the match to Reihana.
Yeah, not good signs for the goal line defence, Corey. I think they had about 3 defenders there sliding and managed to slip off Mr. Reihana. Not good signs to start off for the Waitemata Seagulls.
Yeah, their first real pressure test, I guess, and yeah, the sliding defence on that right edge there just got caught out. A little bit of footwork from Reihana coming back off his left step, coming back infield and then pushing off that third defender and rolling over, spin turning in the tackle and scoring the opening try for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders as Ben Kingy looks to convert. And just slightly out to the right there. Waved away and Hibiscus take the lead 4-0 in the Premier First Sharman final here today for 2017.
Yes, we've been certainly spoiled for coverage of grassroots rugby league from Auckland Rugby League's commitment to stream these games. Tomorrow will be pretty interesting as well, with the league communities clashing with the Floyd Mayweather communities and the Conor McGregor communities. I know what I'll be watching. What will you be watching, Corey?
Kick is good.
It's always footy for me, Lewin, but look, I think it's well, it's going to be one of those sporting events that captures the world, isn't it? The McGregor-Mayweather fight. But in the meantime, good little game developing on our hands down here. Classy set there from Hibiscus Coast to get over the line, and Waitemata currently with one in the blood bin as well. A bit of claret coming out of the nose, but getting fixed up right now. He should be back into the action soon.
Thank you for those updates, Corey. 4-2 the points here at Trust Stadium here in Waitakere. Just from 15 minutes gone into the game.
Hibiscus now seem to be getting into their work. Starting to get some momentum now, get some go forward. Starting to mount pressure onto the Waitemata defence.
Final! Make me. Yes.
Bobby Brown at dummy half. Finds Ben Kingy. Puts the kick up. Well fielded there by the fullback. Domine Fee.
On the line. Hold. Yes, one.
And the 14 there, Eric Lilo bringing it up from, trying to bring it out from dummy half there, but a good tackle there from Josh Panapa.
It's reminding me of schoolyard footy days. I think these boys want to put a big shot on just because the cameras are on.
And a nice run there from Waitemata, taking them up to the 40-metre line.
Release! 4, with me. Hold. Yes. Now with me.
Nice tackle there from Josh Panapa on the right wing for Hibiscus there, dislodging the ball from Waitemata. And their centre number 3, Francis Sua. Nice tackle there from Josh Panapa, dislodging the ball there. Scrum back now, almost on halfway for Hibiscus.
Yeah, they manned up really well in that instance of defence, Rusty, and showed their opposition the sideline and gang tackled and forced to dislodge the footy.
Find up. Forward.
Interesting here, we have a number 11 feeding the scrum.
Our brothers in different shapes and sizes this afternoon, and I think it's more the case that which jersey can fit the tinana.
Josh McPherson was feeding the scrum there for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders now as they play the ball now, moving into good ball territory. They do look very confident with the ball in hand as we see just a little drop ball at the play of the ball there. Just guilty of just trying to rush it there a little bit.
Especially in conditions like this, Rusty, it's very important just to do those simple things correctly, like standing up and playing the ball. 2 hands and with your foot. Otherwise, we'll have small little mistakes that keep on creeping in.
You're sometimes just guilty of just trying a little bit hard, a little bit too hard, and then it seems to be when we make those little mistakes that should be just little schoolboy errors, really, when we should be able to stand and play the ball nice and cleanly. But the boys do have to be mindful, although the rain has gone away now. The surface is still very greasy, and so is the ball. So you just got to have a little bit more attention to ball security, and just make sure you get 2 hands squarely on the ball, and make sure you do the little things right, like playing the ball. Because Waitemata just take their penalty and kick it into touch. Take a little advantage and go forward another 10 metres here.
Let's hope the Trust Arena here, Corey, have paid the Powerball, unlike last week when the floodlights went off at Mount Smart number 2.
Yeah, that's right. Who can forget the famous 3-hour game? Of course, we had the kickoff stalled by the floodlights going out, and then unfortunately had a bad injury in the game, a player suffering a broken bone, so a big stall there. So it was a late one for us last week, Lewin, but hopefully we get home in time for dinner tonight.
9, 5, play the ball. 3.
Yeah, hopefully our lovely mums or nannies have a big pot of pumpkin soup on. It's that type of weather up here in Tamaki Makaurau.
That's 4. Roll away!
Hibiscus once again is getting into their red zone now. And need to number up. I was going to say Waitemata have numbers out to the right side as their winger just goes and climbs up there, takes the ball and scores Waitemata's first try. The opening try for the match. Just check his number there to get his name of the try scorer.
We've seen his skills in the air before, Rusty. A few sets earlier on, he showed some great skills in the air as well. Good kick from the half here, just landing it on the button. And Matthew Velvin seems to be our try scorer for the Waitemata Seagulls.
What a great name, Matthew Velvin.
Yep.
And there's a lovely kick there too from their half there, Gerald Tupusoa. put that kick up beautifully into that right-hand corner. And young Valvin there climbed above his opposites there and managed to secure that ball in the air, landing on his feet and going into the right-hand corner. Score the Waitemata Seagulls' first and opening try of the match, taking them out to a 6-4 lead with a conversion to come. Going to come up a little bit short, I think. Yeah, just out to the left-hand side as well. The Hibiscus there just got caught a little bit short on that left edge. Just, something that some of our league teams need to, and we see it quite often too, even at the very, very top level, international and NRL included, where our wingers and centres have this real tendency to creep off the wing and to come in, and they sort of feel like they need to come in and try and help their insides defend, and consequently they leave their outsides open. And the Tupusoa saw that opportunity out on his right-hand side there and put that kick in there for his winger. Valvin, who was able to climb up and score that first try for Waitemata and give them the lead there, 6-4.
It's good.
Ben Kingy restarts the match here. And Waitemata bringing it forward up to the 25 metres.
Here we are. Yes, one.
Nice carry again from Waitemata. Good go forward in the middle here. Again, that's a nice solid carry up front there, and Sile.
Here we are, stand.
He's been good so far for the Waitemata Seagulls in the opening 10 minutes. 20 minutes, I should say.
Move! 4. Yes.
Yeah, so good yardage so far from Waitemata. A very good set.
5. Final.
To the kick here, which way would they kick? They probably look going to the left edge. And there it is, going down to the left edge, and Josh Panapa brings the ball in. Yeah, just the boys getting in each other's way there. Masoi running behind his own player. And,
run behind his own man after you offload.
What we used to call a shepherd, they call it interference now. And gifting
John,
the ball back.
John.
It was Tuivai Lopa,
wait for me.
the fullback for Hibiscus there, just getting himself mixed up a little bit there, running behind his own player. And Waitemata again, given gifted possession and good ball position on the field.
Make the try line, move. 2, on the try line. On the right, you're all off. Yeah, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, no.
The ref was warning those defenders there that they were all off.
No,
even
all up here.
so to the point that he was calling their numbers and still
Wait for the tap.
didn't listen to his instruction or his guidance.
That's fine.
That lack of discipline tends to start to creep into teams like
On the line, hold.
these.
Penalty, you can't walk into them, you can't take them out. No, JT.
Yeah, lucky break there for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Could have easily been deemed offside. I thought he was just a little bit ahead of the play the ball there. There was that defender flying off the try line. But Waitemata deemed to have walking in going into the back of the play the ball. And similarly to that earlier shepherd there, it is interference when you're running behind your player or trying to use one of your own players in front of you as a shield.
Here we are, make me. Wait for the tap. Yep, play on.
So Hibiscus now in possession of the ball.
That's 1.
As we feel the wind picking up again back here at Trust Arena. At the back of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders as well.
2.
So
Yes.
for the Waitemata Seagulls here, they're playing into a bit of a headwind now. As we see the big man coming forward.
Move! 3.
Bernard Emmanuel.
You don't tap him on the back move. I say move, you all move.
Defenders did really well to chop him down there.
Yeah, my apologies. That's Tangiwai Kira. And the big number 8 for Hibiscus Coast. And draws the penalty as well. Ben Kingy there slices off another 20 metres. As Hibiscus now look to take possession on the 20 metres, going into the Waitemata Seagulls field position now.
Good contact. Try line's on.
It's nice to see how certain shapes of men in the footy traps still, as we see another barnstorming run there by the Hibiscus Coast Raiders front rower Tikirahi McPherson. Only knew one way, and that was forward, wasn't it, Corey?
Yeah, nice line there from the big fella, and he goes over. That was sort of a rare foray into good ball territory there for Hibiscus Coast. Although they've been nice and physical, they've struggled to really get into those good positions of the field, and on that occasion they make it count.
Yeah, well, they do seem to know where the try line is once they are inside their 10-metre zone, and both times they've got the ball inside the Waitemata red zone. They've managed to convert it instantly into points. Twice they've been there, and twice they've scored tries. Gives them the lead now. It's 8 points to 6 with the conversion to come.
When we're defending, we need to be reminded to hit and stick. There's no point sometimes going in with a big shoulder and then not following it up with holding on to the tackler and securing that ball. And that was a prime example of hit and miss.
It certainly was, and they're guilty of not moving forward off their line as this kick, it just misses. Ben Kingy unsuccessful with that conversion attempt there. The kick just coming up short on the left-hand edge of the uprights.
Both ways. Talk to the boys about some discipline, please. They're working on those targets, and I'll talk to them about this.
Yes, as now we know the grand finalists of the Fox Memorial final next week as well, and what a game it was between Howick and Point Chev. Point Chev successful towards the end there, securing an intercept pass and taking away the treats. So they'll meet Glenora Bears next week. What did you guys make of that game, Corey?
Yeah, look, it was a really good game, exciting stuff. Obviously, Howick got up to that early lead and looked like getting over the top of Point Chevalier, but from there, I think that experience, the likes of Dylan Moses, Kevin Locks, the Taveta Latus, really started to come through. So it's going to be an interesting final next week. Of course, Glenora got the better of Point Chevalier last week in the semi. They were a much better side. And then in regulation play, they had a 20-all draw at one stage as well. So it's going to be an interesting final. But either way, we're going to have a new SAS Fox Memorial Premiership champion, with Papakura, of course, winning it last year.
That's right, Corey, and I almost feel for the Howick Hornets, because when I looked at the Point Chev team list from 1 to 17, they were all big names. Then we looked at the Howick team, and there were a few in there that we've never sort of profiled or seen before. However, let's bring our focus back to this game, and these boys deserve all the acknowledgements they can get, including a beautiful display of a 40-20 skill, Rusty.
Yeah, it certainly was a great kick there, and that's something they need to use the advantage of the wind behind them. You know, we were saying it's an 8 to 10 point wind, and they need to try and get that advantage before half-time, because Waitemata will have that advantage in the second half. But certainly a well-executed 40-20 there. And once again, Hibiscus coming into that gold zone, which is Waitemata's red zone. And as we've seen on 2 occasions already, once they get in there, they tend to know where their try line is, and duly take the opportunities when they arise.
They almost don't have to be too fancy there, Rusty. We've seen most of the tries just coming off from some direct running, and instead of trying to spread the ball too much, especially in these conditions, some of the boys have ice skates out there. Just tucking the ball under the wing and putting your head down sometimes does the trick.
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly what I just said.
And Josh Parnapa there, just unluckily the ball drifted forward before it got to him, but he did have a nice finish there. That cut-out ball from Ben Kingy, I think that was just slightly intercepted from his...
By the mark, gentlemen.
Yeah, just a touch there from his centre. The centre just getting a hand to that and sending it forward. Ruben Tolovai.
It wasn't supposed to go to him, was it, Rusty? It was more of a face ball from Ben Kingy trying to hit his winger on the nose.
Yeah, but Waitemata dodged a bullet there. And feed the scrum now on the 10 metre, bringing it out of their red zone.
With me, hold, yes. That's one.
Proud coverage of the Premier First final between the Waitemata Seagulls and the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Roll away behind
Here
the
outside
line.
in the windy West Auckland. We're not up in the corporate box calling the game today, actually in the grandstand, and it is a bit blowy up here, and I feel for our sideline commentator who's doing a great job in the cold.
It's not all bad, Lewin. We've seen a great day of footy here. As we see a penalty there, creeping up a little bit high there from Hibiscus. Boy, I'd love to see the penalty count. And this one, they have given away a fair few. And the P and the whistle getting a fair workout today.
It certainly is, Corey, and probably been the biggest bane for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders so far in the match. They've just got to really get on top of that, and although they did stem the tide after that first 10 minutes when they gave away 7 penalties, and as we come into the last 10 minutes here, that's their first penalty for about 15, 16 minutes. And they just need to get their discipline back, get their focus back, and get back into doing the basics well. And Waitemata again looking to bring the forward with their forward pack coming back into the middle of the field here.
Yes, one.
Keeping the Hibiscus Coast defence under pressure. And it looks like we've got a head in the wrong position here, and he's may look like he's got a touch of concussion here. Referee's called time off.
Push back, boys, push back. Give him some space, please.
And just
push back, Sam. Yeah, pull him forward, pull him forward.
Yeah, not a pretty sight sometimes when our whānau and our players put their head in the wrong position when trying to make a tackle. Obviously, the players near him are in that of concern as well, and at least he landed on his side and he is in the sort of recovery position, but players are also ensuring to take their mouth guards out so it prevents a possible swallowed tongue that could sometimes happen. So if he comes back all right, and
the paramedics coming onto the field now. The Westpac helicopter was very quick getting here.
On the ground, I can see that.
But in all seriousness here, it is a concern. We're always very concerned for head injuries in our game, and it's something that we've really cracked down on. I mentioned earlier the introduction of the blue card now. We're all very familiar with the red card and the yellow card in rugby league, and they've introduced the blue card this year, and that is for concussion. Obviously, that's not under any contention at the moment. He's definitely been concussed, so he will have to leave the field. And under the new rulings, he is not allowed to take the field until he is cleared by a specialist. So, unfortunately, that will be the game for our number 19. It's Hayden Tupaia, and one of the linchpins of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders as well, the dummy half for the team.
He's certainly a key position, Rusty, and it's a big loss for a team to lose your starting hooker. Certainly directs play and has the opportunity to scab a cheap penalty when the markers aren't square.
Or a soft try.
I'm not a fan of those sneaky tries out of dummy half. I think they should be worth 2 points, not the 4.
But I think a stretcher may be required.
Yeah, looks like a bad concussion down here, guys. So getting the appropriate medical condition, and the teams look like they're setting up to go into a bit of a warm-up. So we're set for a little break in play here, but of course you have to take your time with these things, and good to see the medical staff on the field now attending to the player.
Troy Hardy's big enough, he could carry pretty much the whole team to the sideline. But of course he's there to show some compassion to our Hibiscus Raider, Hayden Tupaia. Let's hope he comes back around and he's not in too much strife.
Thank you, boss.
Just under 10 minutes to play here at Trust Stadium in the West Auckland, where we're profiling the Premier Firsts Grand Final. Teams do quite an amazing feat to make it this far. Obviously both teams are deserving, but only one can do the mahi and get the treats today.
We had as you mentioned earlier, Dale, Lewin, we had some real thrillers today, starting off with Otahuhu coming back from the death in the last 7 minutes to overcome Ponsonby Ponies and to book themselves a place in the grand final against the Bay Roskill Vikings. Congratulations to John Eklund and the Otahuhu Leopards, our first victors today. And then our second game was the Te Aratu Roosters in the ladies, women's plate final today, who overcome a very spirited Point Chevalier Buccaneers to take out the pennant or the plate final in wonderful fashion today. And then in the third match, we had a thriller decided in the last couple of minutes by an intercept taken by Point Chev. He went 90 metres to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and take Point Chev through to meet Glenora in the Fox Memorial Grand Final for 2017. Now, this is the second to last match of the day, the Premier First Sharman final, which will be followed by the plate Sharman plate final, which again we'll see Waitemata rocking up against East Coast Base. So again, big congratulations to and acknowledgement to the Auckland Rugby League, with them live streaming our finals of some of our lesser known grades and giving them an opportunity and the exposure to beam out live on the internet, and to all our friends and whānau who are watching on the internet and on the live stream today.
Yeah. It's nice to see our young man here, Hayden Tupaia, to his feet. I'm not too sure if he knows which day of the week it is, Corey, but obviously his boys are rapt to see him walking off the field.
Yeah, that's right. I was quite worried for a little while there. There was a little bit of convulsing going on the ground there and a little bit of wriggling around. Of course, he may have just been trying to get back up to his feet, but good to see him be able to walk off the field and the paramedics with him now. So about to get back into the action, and Waitemata to play the ball about 40 metres off the line.
Yes. Yeah, as we saw last week when the Manuko under-20s grand final, one of their boys unfortunately broke his foot in quite a serious injury, but it almost gives the team something to play for, Rusty, when they see one of their boys go down.
He's gone too far.
It certainly does. They want to lift themselves, and especially for the person who's taken the fall. And I've seen that over many years. I've seen sides lift when one of their players is injured or taken off the field. And in particular, I always think of when Brad Fittler was taken out by Villasante in the Warriors final in 2002, and how it lifted the Roosters through to victory, because at that time, before that, the Warriors were in control in their grand final. And that injury and that attack on Brad Fittler lifted the whole team, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, could have been our first premiership there for the Warriors faithful, and we're still waiting. However, I was put into perspective when it took the Cronulla Sharks 50 years to get their first ring. So there is still a bit of time, but our patience is becoming thin.
Move! Here we are, hold. That's one.
Back to the action here with Waitemata in a prime position to be able to, I suppose, shift the momentum of this game. Scoring just before half-time. Rusty is also a very important factor.
It is, and as percentages go, the team that scores before half-time tends to go on and win the match as well. It's a critical time, those 5 minutes before half-time and after half-time as well. They're very, very critical and quite influential in the outcome of most matches. As Waitemata look to come to their left edge here, but good defence here from the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Yes.
And the little short ball here. And a great hit here. There's a lovely tackle there from the number 10 there, Tiki Rahi McPherson.
I think there was still a bit shell-shocked from the big shot that was put on from Tiki Rahi. And the delivery from the hooker there for the Seagulls, Teddy Mahuriwai.
Tangiwai Kira, my apologies there. Great hit from the big man. Yeah, copybook tackle there, the left shoulder right into the side of the abdomen, dropping him firmly onto the ground. The Hibiscus there followed it up with another good tackle, forcing the error on Waitemata. And now with just over 5 minutes to go, have an opportunity now to come back down the field and try and get one more try before half-time and use that tailwind to their advantage.
Almost a big kick on wheels, the Burry over there on the left-hand side there, Russ.
He certainly is the old Tangiwai Kira. And there it is, there's a big kick there, could be a 40-20 there. Oh, he's put his foot on the line, touchy, no, he did, he managed to stay infield. Lovely work from the fullback. Hibiscus just need to be disciplined here, they don't want to give away another penalty. They're in a good part of the field, and we often talk about being able to attack with your defence, and that's what they need to do here, is be smart but attack, get the line pushing up together and put numbers into the tackle, dominate the wrestle in the ground battle. And that's how you attack with your defence. But you can just see here they're just a little bit patchy on their line, pushing up here.
Almost feels like they've got their tails up at the moment. Corey, the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, showing some great enthusiasm with their line speed. And as Rusty said, turning their defence into attack.
Yeah, that's right, and I think they were actually a little bit unlucky just before. I think the fullback may have stuck his foot into touch before, so probably entitled to have the ball. But yeah, they're playing with plenty of energy, and there's a few big boys who are really rolling through the middle for them. So good signs for the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
And as we count down with approximately 4 minutes left on the clock, Hibiscus in prime position now, with the scrum feed here just outside the 20 metres. And they really need to capitalise and score a try if they can, just to try and take advantage of that tailwind as we spoke about, because they will be playing into a headwind in the second half.
Mahi Mahunga there shown by Mr. Kingi, or the fullback, excuse me, Ras Tuivai with a ball at his feet from the scrum half.
Here we are.
And he actually used his foot to almost catch it rather than trying to pick it up with his hands. We see another barnstorming run there from their number 18, Donny Tuivai Lopa. A big bopper, Mr. Lopa.
That's three.
Right side they go, short side in fact.
Hayden Tarangi there, monstered by the Waitemata defence on that occasion.
Hold, four. Hold, yes. Five,
John McPherson there, denied an opportunity to score. As it goes to Ben Kingi there with a little grubber there. Picked up by their loose forward there, John Silly, prop I should say.
Yep.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play alongside Johnny McPherson. John Boy, they call him.
With me.
Out in Puki when he come in and played for Otahu, him and Jody Henry. It's nice to see him still having a run out there. I think he could possibly be 28, 29. But when you've got that nice balance of youth and experience, Rusty, it tends to do things well as we see a quick break.
Yeah, good work by the Waitemata Seagulls, making a break on halfway. And our mate Valvin there, just taking it up to the 20-metre line. 30 metres, 20 metres now. Waitemata is coming home with a wet sail at the end of the first half here. Hot on attack. Little grubber.
Play that.
It's zero tackle there, back to one. And a penalty to boot.
Hang on.
Just over
Yes, there was. But
a minute and a half to go. Good chance they'll take the penalty here. Try and tie the score up before half-time.
Right, I've got it.
There's some promising signs there, Corey, of the Waitemata Seagulls sort of stopping the momentum of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders and could possibly find themselves to try and put some points on the board before the break.
I think Waitemata will be pretty happy with this, really. I mean, haven't had a lot of the, I guess, good opportunities so far in this game. Certainly Hibiscus Coast have dominated through the middle, but good opportunity here to put some points on the board and go into the sheds pretty happy with their first half's work, I think.
Yeah, I certainly think so, especially the fact that they've played into a headwind for most of the first half as well, Corey. That'll definitely be a real tick in the book for them if they can go in there with a score tied up at 8-all. And Hibiscus certainly needs to have a look at their discipline. It's been their biggest factor that's played against them in the first half. Giving away approximately 8 to 9, if not 10 penalties in the first half. And that's really unacceptable if they're to be successful here today.
Certainly, Rusty, does really come down to the discipline, especially in finals footy, and giving away penalties isn't what the doctor ordered.
This stuff going both ways.
Wonder what a half-time, full-time double was paying at a draw. The Premier First Grand Final at half-time.
I can confirm it was 0. Now Waitemata in there, Pharrell Chapman to line up this penalty attempt. And he slots that one there. Nice and easy, 8-all.
I think he missed there, Rusty. I heard a bit of some French come out of his mouth when he...
On the 30.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, I thought he slotted that. Yeah, we look at the restart now from the 20.
I could almost tell how he sort of placed the ball on the tee. Our kickers nowadays tend to have it at about a 45-degree angle, and this bloke had it up and down. So, not good displays of goal kicking there, put on show from our Seagull goal kicker.
Yeah, it looks like he could have just thrown the ball over. He was so close, so he'll be very upset with himself there, as young Mr. Chapman. But they still have position here. As we're inside the last minute, they must make it another 2 or 3 ruck plays here to try and get some points on the board before half-time. As Eric Lilo looks to take the ball forward. That'll be all she wrote there as we go to the half-time break, with Waitemata trailing the Hibiscus Coast Raiders 8 points to 6.
I don't know. They didn't call it out before. Sorry.
We'll be back to profile the second half here from Trust Stadium. Also continue to give a big mihi to the Auckland Rugby League and the OFC, being able to profile and coverage the great game we love. We'll be back with you shortly.
You don't know me. You've never seen me play. You don't know my name. You don't even know how to pronounce my name. I'm not a big star. You may think I'm a nobody, but nobody trains harder. Nobody wants it more. Nobody will surprise you. Nobody's tougher. Nobody. And come this October, who you don't know can hurt you.
Kia ora no tātou and welcome back to Trust Arena for our live stream coverage of the Premier First Grand Final between the Hibiscus Coast Raiders and the Waitemata Seagulls. Hibiscus Coast there with a narrow lead there coming into the second half of 8 points to 6. And Waitemata now playing on screen from left to right in the green and gold up against the maroon and gold Hibiscus Coast playing right to left.
Yes, it's another sort of barnstorming game here. We've got close proximities, 8-6 is the score going into the second half. And we've been spoiled for choice here this afternoon with some great close games from our Sharman to our women, and of course the Fox Memorial major semi-final, building up to a big opportunity of rugby league next week at Mount Smart number 2, which will be broadcasted on Sky, unfortunately. However, we're still down here doing the biz at Trust Stadium.
Benny, captain, you ready?
Who's going to take this one out? Corey, did you get a chance to hear what some of the coaches or some of the corridor was going on at halftime?
No, look, no official word from the two teams. So, but I think, you know, certainly for Hibiscus Coast, it'll be very much about sticking to what they've been doing through that first half. And for Waitemata, well, just trying to get into better scoring positions. They struggled to kind of, I guess, they're holding their own in the middle, but struggling to get an advantage in that category. So it's going to be an interesting second half here. The lights well and truly on, starting to get quite dark here down on the field as well.
Yes, Hibiscus Coast Raiders in the maroon and gold, and the Waitemata Seagulls in the green and gold, almost looking a little bit like that other team that we're not a big fan of, the Kangaroos. Because there's two teams that I support, that's the Warriors and whoever's playing against Australia.
Hibiscus now looking quite confident with the ball in hand now. Coming to the end of their set here, looking to get a nice kick away as the ball goes. Ooh. A loose play of the ball there. Oh, Ras, Tuivai Lopa. Just guilty of rushing that play of the ball there, gifting the opportunity back to the Waitemata Seagulls. Well, the scrum feed now. Just on their own 40-metre line.
Yeah, you made me think.
Yeah, well, the bulk of the game has seen the possession and the dominance at the backs of the Raiders. As Corey mentioned earlier on, the Waitemata Seagulls have done really well to keep it at an 8-6 scoreline. And with another new, fresh 40 minutes of play to go, it's awesome to see and feel that it could go either way.
Waitemata now coming up to the 50-metre line, moving inside the Hibiscus Coast Raiders half.
Roll away! 3, hold, yes.
We see a little hit up there from one of our front rowers of the Waitemata Seagulls. Lazy power, they call it, on the right-hand side. Backdoor play here. Possible intercept there from the Raider, but propelled forward.
Yeah, Hayden Tarangi there, just trying to get that intercept, but unable to bring the ball in. He would have been shut the gate if he had been able to bring that ball in. He was well away and heading towards the try line. But fortunately for the Waitemata Seagulls, he was unable to bring in the loose ball, the loose pass. And Waitemata once again to feed the scrum 5 metres inside the Hibiscus Coast half. Yeah, Brannigan Poole Puliafe bringing their ball forward there.
Surrender!
The big man, John Sile. He's been good so far for the Raiders. For the Seagulls, I should say. As we see them now getting closer to the Hibiscus Coast 20-metre long line.
Yes. It's fine, play on.
Yeah, nice work on the right edge here. Now up and just over the 20-metre line.
With me.
Quick play of the ball's what they're looking for.
4, 5.
Yeah, fifth and final. Hibiscus held a good set of defence so far. Here it is.
Contact with it. No, there was contact with the player in the air.
As you hear the ref
the player,
mentioning that there was contact whilst in the air. Showed some good skills there, our number 17 for the Raiders, Bev Kingy.
Ben, yeah. Yeah, Ben's a very consummate player there, but he was challenged in the air. Waitemata tried to argue that they didn't try and take him out. They tried to contest the ball, but nevertheless, that was deemed to be interference.
Good contact
on the ball catcher for Hibiscus, Ben Kingy.
Oh, don't move. Yes.
And Emmanuel taking the ball forward for Hibiscus now. They're looking to have a bit more energy about them and a bit more spring in their step as they're coming forward now into Waitemata half. A nice run there by the right winger there, Sky Grace.
Yes.
You might be able to clarify for us, Corey. Is this what used to be the field and shield, this grade?
Lost control.
Here, that's on display at the moment.
Yeah, so this one, obviously the reserve, so feeding into the Sharman Cup. So, yeah, obviously things are a little bit differently now with the way things are set up with the Sharman Cup. It now encompasses the old Fell and Shield as well, so just the two divisions of Auckland Rugby League now. And so a little bit of, I guess, debate about the future of how the competitions will look in the Auckland Rugby League as well. Of course, the Auckland Rugby League always looking for, I guess, better answers in terms of how they can structure those competitions. So interesting times ahead, not only for the Sharman but also the Fox. But I think it's been a good move with the Sharman this year, obviously splitting it into the plate and the top division. And we've seen some really competitive teams, and I guess a team like Waitemata in the plate division, who are going to be playing in the grand final later on, probably just a little bit off the top teams in the top one, but with it being split into two tiers, they're able to compete and kind of retain a lot of those players, I guess, because they're winning football more often.
That's right.
And is it accurate to say that Fell and Shield was actually the minor championship winners now? Was that awarded to Otahu for winning the minor premiership in the Sharman?
Yeah, I think that's correct, Rusty. So obviously good to see that it's still there. Of course, every trophy in the Auckland Rugby League is there for a reason, and they've all got their own story to tell. So really good to see that there. And of course, we've got things like the Kiwi Shield as well. Of course, the Konaka Minolta Root Rooster. So plenty of silverware still on offer in this one. I think the way the Auckland Rugby League is going right now in terms of structuring these comps, it's really good, because look, at the end of the day, teams don't want to be getting flogged by 40 or 50 points, and that is a reality sometimes in this competition. So good to split them up and I guess allow boys to enjoy a winning feeling in footy.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I mean, it's my heart sort of goes out to sort of the Te Atatu Roosters as well, and it's sad to see, teams work so hard to get up into the Fox, and then next thing you know, they're back down in the Sharman, and there's almost a discussion which could take place that the winner of the Sharman plays the team that could possibly be relegated from the Fox, and then that can decide who comes up or who stays.
Yeah, and look, that's not a bad idea there, Lou. And I think anytime you can create kind of interesting matchups like that, where you'd get a lot of kind of crowd interest and a lot of interest from the clubs as well. But just on the Te Atatu Roosters, boy, they can be proud of what they did in the Auckland First Division this year. Went down fighting. Of course, it was about 8 minutes to go in the season that their fate was sealed, obviously with Mangere East getting up over Marist. But Rev O'Neill did some great things this year with that team. Of course, his son Kyle and that squad as well. They brought a number of boys home. I think the Arvans featured a little bit for them as well this year. So bright things on the horizon for Te Aratu. Of course, they'll be back down in the second division next year, but surely will be among the favourites to be in the grand final again next year.
Yeah, they certainly will be, Corey. But also, too, I remember that it used to be actually what Lewin was mentioning. There was a promotion relegation. So if you came last in the Fox Memorial, you got to play the winner of the Sharman, and that was the promotion relegation final. So although you finished last, you still had a chance to stay there if you were able to beat the winners of the Sharman. So that's how it used to be structured. As we see Hayden Tarangi there picking up that little intercept there. One Hibiscus player in amongst 4 Waitemata Seagulls, and coming up with the ball on that occasion. And a nice solid hit there from the number 6 from the Waitemata Seagulls there, Benjamin Pualaki. Hibiscus now looking to take the ball forward with Tapuvai Lopa.
Play the ball, it's 3.
Another big carry from one of the front rowers of the Raiders, Henare Manuel, Tony Tuivailopa.
Outside!
Yeah, nice take there from the fullback, young Chapman for the Waitemata Seagulls. But that nice chase from the defenders there from Hibiscus Coast there, getting up there and not allowing them to make much ground, making their tackle on the 30. There's a good chase on that occasion there by the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. And forcing the error. So that pressure from defence converts into possession now. As a result there, they've put the Seagulls under pressure, forced the error. And it's great work from the Hibiscus Coast Raiders now with a scrum just 25 metres out from the Waitemata try line.
Yeah, I feel for him too. Rusty's been one of the standouts for the Seagulls, Matthew Velvin. Of course, we're reminded of the skills that he showed in the air as he took a crossfield chip kick from one of his halves and planted it over the line. He'd be frustrated with that little error there, Mr. Velvin.
It's fine. Play the ball!
Yeah, had the right eye there, Hibiscus. Just trying to get it out to their right edge. Timing just wasn't quite right there. The execution was just off. But certainly starting to chance their arm now and throw the ball around, back themselves, showing some confidence with their skills. So see a good tackle there from Waitemata, numbers in the tackle. Nice stacking in there, slowing down that play the ball. There's Manuel now, looking to get them inside the 10-metre zone, but loses control there, Manuel. Good defensive effort from the Waitemata Seagulls as well.
Yeah, he must have got wind from one of his cousins backing up on this saying, bro, pass the ball, pop the ball, I'm here. But maybe the smarter decision was just to hold on to the footy, get up, gave the bro the big don't argue, pop. Oh.
Yeah, just looking for the offload when it wasn't really there. He was already almost on the ground. He just needs to put another hand on the ball and just go good ball security, get a tidy play of the ball. And Waitemata there just dodge another bullet. And we'll scrum it down on their 10-metre line now with their feed and look to bring the ball forward.
Come up to the line, Raiders.
Feels like the Raiders really starting to get control of this game now. It's a couple of good sets from them. So important period of the match here for Waitemata. They need to turn things around a little bit here, and maybe it starts with a couple of big carries through the middle of the park, but we've seen both teams are pretty open to spreading the ball despite the conditions. It is still quite wet down here. The field certainly still has a lot of moisture on it, and therefore so does the ball. So interesting to see what Waitemata go with here, but important part of the game for them.
Doesn't matter. Boys, out.
A few hands going up, pointing to the sidelines as well. A few of the boys are blowing a bit. I'm assuming that they have 10 interchanges similar to the other divisions.
You might go for the line, boss.
Yeah, Waitemata there just gifted the penalty. Again, that discipline there, just a silly shoulder charge on the first tackle. And Waitemata now just kicking out, taking an easy 20 metres, 25 metres down the field there, approaching halfway.
Make me, here we are. Here we are. Come to me, big man. You're on now.
Yeah, Hibiscus Coast have been their own worst enemies with their discipline today. And if they are to be successful today, they've got to sharpen that aspect of the game up and get back to doing the basics better.
Swinging arm, the big man.
Yeah, and there it is, just getting frustrated. And there we go, we have our first sin bin of the match there. And unfortunately for Hibiscus there, it's their team that gets the first sin bin. And the big man Manuel there, guilty of throwing the loose arm.
You have to talk
yeah, Rusty showing the frustration too. He knew it was a silly act, but it was nice sportsmanship also shown where he stood up and gave a bit of a handshake to the victim of his punishment.
The recipient.
Here we are.
Yeah, now Waitemata here now with a tap on the 25 metres out.
Wait for it. Play on.
So Hibiscus again, as we spoke about, their discipline has been very costly for them so far. They're going to have to work a little bit harder now to cover for the extra man. They're going to play a man down in the middle of the field with their forward, their props having to readjust now. Second row will move up and their Lucy will move into second row to try and cover the shortfall with Emmanuel, their prop on the sin bin now. And they'll have to cover him for the next 10 minutes as Waitemata look to get the first try in the second half.
Release, that's three.
In the 13th minute of the second half, here it is. Not quite there, good defence from Hibiscus. Denying Waitemata that try. As it comes out wide to their centre. It's great work there from Leroy Masoi. Showing good footwork there to wrong foot, Ben Kingy. And then showing the pace and the power to finish it off with the covered defenders not being able to stop him. As we have a look at the replay here, we'll see he pushes up there to Ben Kingy, then puts a little bit of a right step on.
Over with me, boss.
And then the fend out here on the second rower. And then too much pace and power to finish off there close to the line.
He certainly knew where the try was, Rusty, and he also knew where the cameras were. As we see here, as he cuts back on the inside, points to mum and dad, saying, I scored, and you saw me on TV. Well done.
There you go, no doubt he'll be getting back home there, making sure that the live stream was archived on the laptop or the computer at home there, and just put that on replay for the kids and for the whānau. And congratulations to Waitemata, it was a lovely try. Giving them the lead back now. Yes. This conversion attempt by Brannigan Puliaki.
Hasn't been a high-scoring game, Rusty. I mean, this is the first time that Waitemata have led the game from their early penalty. And they've shown great skill to just stay in the grasps of, and the grips of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Yeah, they've had to grind it out. You know, they've been under the pump a little bit, and but credit to them when they were able to get their advantage of being a man down with Hibiscus having one in the sin bin. They capitalised very quickly, and 2 minutes after he went to the bin, they were able to take advantage of that overlap. And insane that they still have to do a lot of work there. Masoi there just beating 3 and 4 defenders on his way to the try line. And Hibiscus there just guilty of poor defence. So congratulations to Waitemata on that try, was well deserved. Great effort from Masoi. Scored the opening try of the second half. And once again, Corey in the right spot again. I think that's 80% of the tries today have been scored right in front of you down there on the sideline, my friend.
Yeah, that's right. They should have given me a camera. I'll be catching all the fantastic shots today. Lots of tries down this corridor in particular. And that one, another nice one there. A nice little bit of footwork there, given the conditions. And Waitemata hit back nicely. So interesting how the next little bit plays out with the sin binning. Hibiscus Coast, boy, their discipline has been awful today. And remains to be seen the price they will pay for the sim binning a few minutes ago, but already 4 points down after the man is in the bin.
Great opportunity to profile this club, the Waitemata Seagulls, and also the next game has their Sharman Cup team playing in the plate final.
Yeah, and it's good to see them showing the depth of their club as well. And although they didn't make the championship round of the Sharman here, they've been very successful in the plate round. And it's really good to see a club fielding two sides in the grand final today. Both their premiers and their premier first fronting up for their grand finals today. And at the moment, their premier first are leading Hibiscus Coast 10-8 in a seesaw battle that we're seeing out here today with the score going back and forth. The lead changing hands 4 times already. And Hibiscus now with 2 meters of the try line here, hot on attack. And looking to come wide now with the opportunity out to the left-hand side. As Tupu Vaivalu comes into the back line. Just couldn't quite get through the defence there and pick up his winger. And now number 11 here coming in, Lopa.
This will be a great display of defence if Waitemata can hold out the attack from the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. This is the fifth tackle in fact. Not the greatest option there to finish off.
No, he had
the attacking set.
Yeah, even though they had a man in the bin, they had an overlap on the right edge there, but didn't use his peripheral vision there. And instead choosing to try and put a little grubber through, but not finding a gap or a hole. And hitting the legs of the Waitemata players, and then Waitemata seizing upon the loose ball. And Hibiscus Coast once again on defence. And Waitemata here need to play smart. Look for an early kick here and use that tailwind lure and try and get down to this part of the field, get down to the Hibiscus red zone and put them back under pressure. They have the lead now and they need to play smart. They don't need to play catch-up football, they've got to play smart football now.
Yes, of course, Rusty, top 2 inches are really important, and they hear your whakaaro. And there goes the big punt downfield, which lands into the arms of the fullback there for the Raiders, Ras Tuivailopa.
Great tackle there by Matthew Valvin as well. Wrapping up his attacker is Waitemata, looking to consolidate that lead. It's a good set of defence here. And they're certainly doing a good job at the moment here. Although the lead is very slender, they still need to play smart. They still don't want to shut up shop. They still want to play attacking football.
That's 4. No, not back.
And smart football in particular, and it's all about doing the little things right, and got to commend them. Their discipline has been wonderful today.
Outside.
And a good kick there outside the 40, so it's not a 40-20.
Wrong line.
But it is a good kick. It is
like a 50-20, not a 40-20.
As we hear our referee, the man in the middle, mentioning it was a 50-20, not a 40-20. But I suppose, Corey, both teams will be happy with the football finding the sideline. A few hands on hips out there.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a pretty frantic second half in particular, not too many stoppages. So both teams feeling the burn a little bit there, particularly Hibiscus Coast, of course, given they're doing it with 12 men right now. So plenty of scrambling work for them in defence.
Yeah, Waitemata has played the better football in the second half here. And again, it's been their discipline that's been their saviour so far. They've managed to be getting more complete sets and have more possession. And Hibiscus just seems to be rushing things a bit more, but worse off for them. They've been very, very ill-disciplined, when especially on defence, with high shots and late shots, offsides. And the game is certainly not out of reach by any means, but they do need to compose themselves here and get some consistent sets under their belt, get some possession under their belt, and try and apply some pressure. We're just coming into the last 20 minutes of the match here. Coming into the last quarter. And double knock on there. No advantage. Waitemata with the first knock on, and they play the ball now, the scrum feed rather, to Hibiscus. And it looks like the sin bin will be called back onto the field.
I think the ref's coming over to check one of the injuries there. I think it's Hayden Te Rangi.
Yeah.
Went down bracing his ankle. It's pretty close to the sideline, so it could almost crawl off. And we can carry on with play. He's had a good game so far, Hayden Te Rangi. Be a big blow to the Hibiscus Coast Raiders if he couldn't continue.
It's on the man on the sideline, not on me. Is it?
A few questions going to the man in the middle to see how much time's left for Big McPherson to come on the field. Oh, Manuel, Aroha Mai.
Waitemata.
Yeah. Hayden Te Rangi there trying to shake it off. Doesn't want to come off the field. But they're already a man down, and him being down on his haunches there just makes his team's position even worse there, being 2 men down. A very poor pass from the scrum base there, unable to find its target. And Hibiscus there was just very, very poor skills and gifting position straight back on the very first carry from that scrum there. Not even able to get to a carry with a poorly directed pass, not finding its target and getting knocked on going forward. And Waitemata now once again on attack.
Yeah, the evidence is clear, isn't it, Corey? You can tell which sort of division you're focusing on by these familiar mistakes that keep creeping in.
Yeah, and look, and to be fair, I guess the conditions playing a role in that as well. It is, as I mentioned earlier, still quite wet down here, and there's a bit of a breeze around as well, quite cold as well as the night's gone on. But look, they've got to be smarter there, Hibiscus Coast, you know, particularly when you're playing a man down. You've got to be smarter, you've got to just hold the ball, get through your sets and try and eat away at that clock, not make mistakes on first play.
It's a nice run down that edge there by Jared Adams there. Nice carry from the big man on the right edge. And the Waitemata playing with some real energy right now. They've certainly got momentum with them here as they go to fifth and final. Just a poor ball security at the play of the ball there. And the poor finish to that set.
Incorrect play of the ball. You can't throw it to the guy behind you.
Yeah, Hibiscus Coast now.
Here's your mark. Hold the mark, gentlemen.
With their man Manuel back onto the front row, back on the field. They certainly have plenty of time left in the match here, just over 18 minutes left. And it's plenty of time there as you see a great tackle there by the Waitemata Seagulls with 3 in the tackle. And untidy play the ball. And there's Tapuvai Lopa. Guilty there of bad ball security. A loose play the ball.
I think since we've announced the problematic errors that are creeping in, we've seen about 4 or 5 so far, and either team are responsible for these silly mistakes, but it will prove to cost them in the dying minutes of the game.
As we see the silverware on screen there. Do the mahi and get the treats. There they are, ready for presentation very shortly. In about 17 minutes time, one of these teams will be putting on the gold medals and lifting their trophy. As we see that big man, last try scorer Marsoi taking the ball forward again. Now 5 metres off the try line there. Waitemata in fine attacking position here. Oh, and a loose play the ball. Yeah, just guilty of rushing it there with Waitemata. There's that Faukafa. He almost got over the try line as well on that carry there, but try to get to his feet there and make a quick play the ball, but just hurried it. And as we saw from Hibiscus in the previous set there, just that a little bit of sometimes trying a little bit too hard at the play of the ball, and we tend to make mistakes. And once again, Corey, that was right in front of you, my friend.
That's right, I got the good and the bad right in front of me today. So Hibiscus Coast here, well, they've really dodged a bullet not to have conceded any points after this raft of errors that they've made over the last few minutes. So some fresh legs coming into the frame for them now. So let's see if they can get a little bit of spark. This game kind of just gone into a little bit of a holding pattern. Both teams trading blows, but nothing significant so far in terms of point scoring opportunities.
We don't want to make a mockery of the game, but it's a bit of a comedy of errors, and it's almost quite entertaining seeing them pass the ball around like a bar of soap. But let's hope for the remainder of the game that they try and hold on to the footy and get back to their structures.
Yeah, sort of hoping we'd see a bit more of a injection into the game from Ben Kingy. I've seen Ben Kingy for many years, and came onto the scene as a very, very young premier. I think he was only 16 at the time, 17, and you know, he was a very, very skillful player, very naturally talented player, and just think he's been quite quiet by his own standards, and I'm sure he'd be the first one to admit, and I just think that he would be one to spark a resurgence in the Hibiscus Coast Warriors at this time. And there it is again, that ill discipline.
He's going down, it's high.
I guess that was just a little bit unlucky there that the player was going down and sort of crouching into the tackle. Hence Hayden Tarangi connecting with the head. He didn't actually go out there with malicious intent to try and take him out with a head-high tackle. But unfortunately, once again, that lack of discipline comes to the fore in Hibiscus as we look at the replay as Chapman brings it forward here. Yeah, just bad execution, poor tackle tech there. And young Chapman here will look to get a few more metres down the paddock with the kick into touch. And Julie obliges. And the Hibiscus here are running out of time as we tick into the last 14 or 15 minutes here. The time is definitely the enemy of the Hibiscus Raiders. But as you can see on screen there, is still a very, very slender lead. The Waitemata Seagulls hold at this time, 8 points to 10. As you see a spirited run there from Faukafa. And the Waitemata Seagulls as they head down the field once again. Nice little inside ball. Oh, a nice strong run there too from Jared Adams. Taking them up to the 30-metre line.
3, here we are. Yes.
And they've got numbers out to the left there. The wing is unmarked. Some good footwork in there. Great carry there from the big number 15 there. Lepa for Waitemata.
No, that's good.
And then there's the winger, gets the ball. And a good cover tackle there from Hibiscus Raiders. Good work there. Francis Sua being barreled into touch. Great work by the right-hand edge for Hibiscus Coast there. Taking Waitemata left winger into touch as he was on his way to the try line and saving a certain try.
Yes, Rusty, even though the lack of discipline for both teams had started to creep in, Hibiscus Coast Raiders showed great character with their line defence, being able to keep the Waitemata Seagulls at bay. 10-8, as you say, was just over 10 minutes to go, and the clock ticking down. Let's see if Hibiscus can complete their set and get to the kick and put a bit of pressure on the Waitemata Seagulls. Certainly this flop and that piggyback would help the cause. And a big punt there from John Boy McPherson helps them march up the field. Tap ball just over the halfway line.
Keep coming. You're good. Move with me. Yes.
Hibiscus Coast Raiders just middling the football, Rusty, so they've got attacking opportunities left and right.
Yeah, well, it looks like they've got a bit of a sniff here, a bit of a sniff of an opportunity. And they're certainly taking it with some major yardage, and they've got up inside the 20 yards now for Waitemata, and good ball position here. Some nice work out of dummy half. And now only 2 metres short of the line, Waitemata encamped on their try line. Here comes the big man. And there it is. Just what the doctor ordered for Hibiscus Coast. And there he was.
Come off the sin bin.
Yes, Mr. Manuel there.
and did the old Māori side step straight over the top of them.
Yeah, after leading his side down there with that sin bin, he makes up for it there with a barnstorming run. 1 metre off the try line, and with 4 defenders in front, there was no stopping the big man. Making up for his sin bin there, Henare Emmanuel, scoring right next to the right-hand upright. Taking Hibiscus into the lead with a conversion to come.
Thank you, bro.
Corey, it was evident there, mate, where the Hibiscus Coast Raiders decided just to scoot out a dummy half and go up the middle rather than having to do some fancy things and try and spread it out wide. We saw some displays of just smart darts at a dummy half, and they end up sort of getting the lead back.
That's right, yeah, simplified the game plan really, didn't they? Just a couple of good runs in the middle of the park, some power football, and then quick play the balls off the back of that. We're able to make some ground. So all of a sudden, the sin bin man back on the field. Of course, he was nice and refreshed from his little stint in the naughty seat. Goes over for the try, and we've got a game in our hands.
We certainly have. It's still within grasp there with only a 4-point margin. So a converted try could win it for the Seagulls. So still all to play for with just over 9 minutes left to play.
He certainly made up for his mistake earlier on by being put in the bin. Reminded that the Waitemata Seagulls did capitalise of having one man down. However, Mr. Manuel come back on and did the job for his team in that particular stage.
And then they seem to be sticking to that simplified game plan there with 2 big runs up the middle now.
Yes, that's 2.
Now, here they go now. They're going out to the edge now. There's an opportunity on the right side. Josh Barnaba just can't hold on to that ball. And there it is for Waitemata. He's going to go all the way. And there he is. With a great try to the Seagulls.
Yeah, they're all up on their feet. The audience here, the faithful of the Waitemata club.
There's Francis Sua.
Unfortunate display when we've just been wrapping the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, Corey, of their simplified game plan by going up the middle. Then they just decide to spread it wide, and the thief in the night plucks the ball and sprints down Mr. Francis Sua for the Waitemata Seagulls.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They should have stuck to it in the middle of the park, shouldn't they? But yeah, nicely picked off there. And Waitemata, this game takes another turn. It's a seesawing affair so far. Sideline conversion to come.
Yeah, you still can't write off the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, but that was a great try there. Opportunist try, and opportunity, so they say, fortune favours the brave. Young Francis Sua put himself in the right position there. Unfortunately for Josh Parnapa there, he just wasn't able to bring in that high pass and coughed the ball up there right into the hands of the Francis Sua, ready to pounce there, and he sprints 50 metres to score that try. 14-all with a kick to come. And he converts it from the sideline, giving Waitemata the 2-point lead, 16 points to 14. Set up for a grandstand finish here, Lloyd.
Yes, mate, it's awesome. You couldn't have scripted a better final in the Premier Firsts. Big dance here at Trust Stadium number 2. Even though most of these clubs don't get much of a display, they've come out and turned it on for us here this afternoon. However, Rusty, as you mentioned, there's still plenty of time left.
Exactly, you can't write them off. It's a 2-point ball game. A penalty will draw, a try will win it for Hibiscus if they're able to get the next points. They could win this match.
Great run there from the Waitemata Seagull. Fending off one, fending off two. And unfortunately, at the end of his run there, he knocked the ball out of his grips.
Yeah, that was Iata Lepa. He was on a barnstorming run down the right edge for the Waitemata Seagulls.
Here's another look at his run. Got on the outside of Hayden Tarangi, shrugged off another defender, and some good contact there from Ben Kingi.
Yeah, just getting quite excited there, but just needed to get better ball security as soon as he came into contact. He needed to wrap the ball with both arms, both hands, and secure position for his side. But emotions are running high right now, as you could imagine. Both sides realising they're coming up to the last 5 minutes of the grand final for 2017, with the result in the balance and 2 points the margin at this stage. It's very exciting stuff here, Lewin.
That's right. They've got one hand on the trophy so far, but they need to remind themselves not to count the chickens before they hatch. Here's the Hibiscus Coast Raiders in a prime opportunity to be able to snatch victory. Let's see if they continue to utilise that simplified game plan of going up the middle, which worked well for them earlier on, Corey.
Yeah, that's right. Huge set here for Waitemata. They need to defend. This one has gone very close there, so whole lot of pressure here on Waitemata. Have they got what it takes to hold them out?
Yeah, here they go. Ben Kingy, been waiting for Ben Kingy to unleash, and there it is. The show and go. Well, it's only taken 76 minutes, but there we see a touch of brilliance from the young Hibiscus Raider. Ben Kingy there. As I mentioned earlier, Lewin, he needed to show something with... he's had quite a quiet game by his own standards, and I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that. But there we are, a touch of class, a touch of brilliance from a very talented and experienced player in Ben Kingy. The show and go, backing himself, backing his ability there, and putting them back into the lead with 3 minutes to go. An exciting finish to this game here, Lewin, and a conversion to come. And once again, a 2-point margin to Hibiscus Raiders.
Tika now kōrero Rusty. I mean, big ups to Ben Kingy, who's come on and turned on at the right time. As you mentioned, he goes missing sometimes in different patches of the game, but the important moments of the game, Ben started to shine and showed his class where he was able to show and go. Must pay tribute also to our cameramen, who are sometimes getting caught off guard with the audience jumping out of their seats and blocking their shots, but hey, that's all right.
Now Ben Kingy looking to convert his own try here and extend that lead. Pick out to 4 points. And there it is. Advantage now to the Hibiscus Raiders.
Watch for short. Approximately 3 minutes of the match remaining.
There's our on-field commentators have just announced we've just got over 3 minutes to play. Hibiscus now defending a 4-point lead with Waitemata to restart.
Good.
An exciting finish here to the Premier First Grand Final in the Sharman. There's Tapu Vai Lopa,
Come to me.
brings it forward.
That's one.
And you think they just need to play smart here, Lewin, just play smart football, dummy half, one off the ruck, get to the kick.
Get square, yes.
Yes, but they need to remind themselves if they are showing all the tricks of slowing the ball down, and as we've mentioned before, these simple mistakes tend to creep in, and that was another prime example of not being able to protect the footy.
Oh my gosh, how many more twists in the tail do we have in this match here, Lewin? This is exciting stuff here. You just can't count them out. These guys just keep on giving giving their best. And Waitemata now inside the Hibiscus 10-metre line. Hot on attack now with 3 left to play.
This is when the Raiders need to dig deep and brother up and not let the Waitemata team through. It was only the 3rd tackle there, Rusty. I'm not too sure if that option was the smartest. Our try scorer earlier on, Francis Sua, showed great skill and ability to be able to hold on to that football, that early crossfield kick.
They've got numbers out here on their right edge, and they need to come right. They've got a 3-on-1 at this stage.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. No. As you mentioned, Corey, they had about 5 to 6 player overlap on the right-hand side. We'll get a chance to see the replay again. I think it was 1v5. Oh,
yeah, just totally misjudged the kick there.
Ball beat them to the line. Karoha.
Now inside the last minute here, Hibiscus just needs to just hold the ball with both hands, take it into the tackle, and go to ground. You don't want to try and hold the ball in one arm and try fending people off. You just need to be smart here. Hold the ball. Play out the set. They won't even have to play out the set. There's the hooter. And Hibiscus Coast will take their premiership, their championship, the Premier First Sharman plate for 2017. So Rukaloza and the boys, congratulations. They'll take the gold medals home and the trophy. Commiserations to Waitemata and the Seagulls. Gallant effort from the feet there today. But a wonderful, wonderful game, a very exciting finish with the lead changing hands 4 or 5 times in the last quarter of the match. So very, very entertaining match there, Lewin. But congratulations to Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Yes, certainly, Rusty. I feel for the Waitemata Seagulls. It's not a great feeling going down in the final, but they've shown some good skill here and obviously had a good season making it this far. So commiserations goes out to the players themselves and in fact the management and the supporters and the families and the mums and dads who help our brothers in all they do, taking them to practices, coming to support, cleaning some footy boots, washing some jerseys, making some oranges, the list goes on. And it takes more than just a player in fact, a lot of commitment to be involved in this great game we have, Rusty.
Absolutely, and both sides here can take their heads up and hold their heads up high, putting on a very, very entertaining grand final. You know, both right down to the last minute, it could have gone either way. Super exciting match, and congratulations once again to the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, to Rukaloza and his team. They've done the mahi and got the treats here today.
Well, we. And I suppose, hey, those hours of travelling from Te Puaha o Waikato, from Pukikohe, and making their way up to Hibiscus, which is in Whangaparoa, up north, has paid off for them. So a big mihi to the families and to the brothers and to the boys that had shown this love for the game and those long hours of training and travel time to be a part of this awesome club. Just congratulating one another. An awesome sign of sportsmanship. We'll go sideline now with Corey and the Waitemata captain.
We're joined now by John, the captain of the defeated Waitemata Seagulls. John, a game that kind of toed and froed, but overrun a little bit in the end. Very disappointing for your boys.
Disappointing with the outcome, but I'm really, really proud of my boys. Man, the way we hang on there, you know, we did a good week's prep with a team that we've basically been struggling with the whole year. But to come out like short like that, I'm proud.
Were there periods in the game where you felt like you were quite in control? Obviously, they had the sin binning and you were able to score some points, but did you sort of feel in control at some stages in that game?
Yeah, you know, everybody feels that control, but just little errors cost us the go forward as well. But in saying that, no excuses, everything out there.
A fantastic year for you guys nonetheless, and I guess something to build on for next season as well for your club?
Yep. Really hard because it was our 50th Jubilee this year, and hopefully to see some of the boys back next year. I'd like to dedicate it to Baia, passed away at the beginning of the year, and to all our injured players throughout the year.
Commiserations on the defeat. Enjoy the off-season.
Thank you.
Always a tough ask, Rusty to interview the losing captain, but he did a good job there for the Waitemata Seagulls, and Corey is now sidelined with Ben Kingi, the Hibiscus Coast Raiders captain.
We're joined now by Hibiscus Coast Raiders captain Ben Kingi. Not only the winning captain, but got the winning try as well. Ben, what were the emotions like when you went over late?
I think it's just lucky I got a puck, a bit of momentum. But nah, it's just good. That's what a final is, eh? It's not this 30-0 or whatever. We've beaten them by a lot of points throughout the season. But today, I think they had the lead since the start. And the boys just pulled in through the whole game. Especially to our cap. Big shout out to our cap that got taken off in the game. But knocked out. But this one was for him, eh? And it's overwhelmed at the moment.
You made it hard on yourselves. The discipline was a little bit off tonight, and I think you gave away something like 20 penalties throughout that game, so you made it hard.
I think it's just everyone going on the highlight reel, going for the big tackle, but just happy that the boys come away with the win. Deserved it all year, and see.
And obviously for your club, obviously competing in the plate division for the Sharman Cup as well, so it's been a pretty good season for you guys, and you've been able to build some pretty good momentum throughout the year.
Yeah, like you said, been beating a lot of teams by a lot of points, but just at the start of the game told the boys that doesn't really mean nothing, Get to the finals and it's a big difference, and show today on the game, it was an awesome game.
Thanks for joining us, Ben. Enjoy the night.
Thanks,
And Ben Kingy there, the successful captain of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders today. Also the winning try scorer today, and converting his own try to give the 4-point margin to the Hibiscus Coast Raiders today. As we go across down now to the presentation, there's the Waitemata captain, John Sili gives his speech.
Well deserved. And brothers, I'm proud of you. We got this far. It's ready to put our shit out there, man. That's brotherhood.
Francis Sua continues to acknowledge his teammates that showed some good talent and skill in certain phases of the game. Unfortunately, weren't good enough this evening, with the Hibiscus team preparing themselves to get their hands on the silverware. And some of the Cuzzies actually came over to me and wanted to hear what Ben Kingy had to say, and reminded us that the Hibiscus Coast Raiders is a make-up of the Pukekohe Prem's team, and the fact that the Waitemata Seagulls didn't have a third division team, and so it's a bit of an amalgamation of the Waitemata Club and the Pukekohe Pythons, so a big mihi to those two clubs as well.
Yeah, you see General Manager of the Auckland Rugby League there, Greg Whaiapu, presenting the Waitemata Seagulls with their runner-up medals for 2017. And very commiserations to the Seagulls, but a gallant effort, and it's certainly had chances right up until the very last play of the match, Lou, and a very, very exciting finish to a exciting, well-balanced game today. Two sides that put on a great display in a very evenly matched game as well. And it's always exciting as a spectator to see a game that can go either way coming into the dying seconds of the match.
And we'll come down to Evelyn and down on the field to hear once again from our captain of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders.
Well, I'd like to thank thanks for the game, like all the other games throughout the season, didn't really mean nothing. And the boys led the whole way in this game, and an awesome game with it.
I think Ben is unfortunately covering the mic with his hand, the antenna. But we could almost milli what he's saying.
Too much out to our coaches, managers,
acknowledging these people that sometimes go unnoticed, Rusty.
We've got the backbones behind these teams who do all the work behind the scenes. The organising, the gears, the water, the ice, the medics, and the trainers, the coaches, these all the staff, and they're usually the unsung heroes. When the team's not playing well, it's the coach's fault. When the team's doing well, it's because they're awesome players. But it's nice to hear the players acknowledging their staff and their playing, their coaching staff, their admin, and the people behind the scenes. And now they're getting their treats here with Greg Whaiapu presenting them with their winners' medals for 2017. And in a few minutes, they'll be awarded the trophy as champions of the Premier First Sharman plate section for Premier Firsts. As we see the big man Manuel there. A try scorer under the post there, out of the sin bin and under the goal post there. Putting his team back in the hunt. After letting them down, he made up for it in a big way, the best possible way. See Tangi Waikira receiving his medal.
Awesome display of Māori tanga as well, with the ARL Kaumatua there sharing the mauri with the players through the act of the hongi.
Yeah. Quite a strong Māori contingent in the Hibiscus Coast Raiders side there. And Rig Whāpū Julie acknowledging that. So this medal presentation's a little bit slower than the Waitemata Seagulls one. As we stop to embrace with the hongi and share the breath of life, the mauri, as you said there, Lewin. See Josh Panapa now coming up to receive his medal.
It's also nice to see our Pacifica Polynesian brothers also acknowledging our ARL stalwarts.
Our rangatira. And
Sonny Walker there,
yes.
Rusty, so he's part of this rōpū as well.
Yes. Come and applied his trade with Otahu for a couple of years as well, Lewin. A very, very fine player, Sonny Walker.
Here's a chance to celebrate and take a few photos. Standing by, waiting for Ben Kingi and the captain to hold the trophy.
Please put your hands together for Hibiscus Coast.
And here it is, the money shot, the trophy, the medals, that golden moment that every team strives for. And a big congratulations once again to the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Premier First Sharman, plate champions for 2017. And Team Wyatt at the finish off as well.
Yep, once again, the victors, the Hibiscus Coast Raiders, taking out the Premier Firsts Championship Grand Final here at Trust's Arena. Still to come, plenty more action here this evening. I hope you can stick around and tune into our next live stream, brought to you from Auckland Rugby League, and us commentating here, Rusty, Corey. Stick around, still plenty to come with the Seagulls up against the Barracudas.
You don't know me. You've never seen me play. You don't know my name. You don't even know how to pronounce my name. I'm not a big star. You may think I'm a nobody, but nobody trains harder. Nobody wants it more. Nobody will surprise you. Nobody's tougher. Nobody. And come this October, who you don't know